Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meet, Greet, and Ask Us Anything. This is episode number 3 with Eric Prost, a California attorney in Los Angeles. Please welcome Eric Prost to the program. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good, Marlon. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So you and I know each other. We worked together for a quick, short stint in Los Angeles. We haven't seen each other in actually probably a couple of years now in person.
Yeah,
but I'm happy that we took this opportunity to meet each other here.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to finally see you. I know we speak on the phone quite a bit, but yeah, we haven't seen each other since about 2017. So it's been quite some time.
I know, 3 years, going on 3 years now. And then yeah, we do talk quite a bit on the phone. We talk about the business and law and all that kind of good stuff happening in California. So it's good to stay in touch.
Absolutely.
So for the audience, I mean, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, you're obviously an attorney down in California. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your practice and what you're doing and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Metro Detroit, moved out to San Diego originally, 3 days after law school, jumped in the car, drove to San Diego, and then I think about 2 years after that, moved to Los Angeles for work. Worked in defense firms, worked with Marlon at a firm in Beverly Hills for a little bit, and then decided to break off on my own. And since then, I've been representing independent business owners, startups in the tech world, represent some cannabis businesses. And we do everything from incorporation, getting their LLC incorporation set up, all the way through the sale, if it gets to that point. We also do some individual representation for the business owners as well, but it's mostly on the business side of things.
Right. So are you still practicing in matrimonial law as well, divorce?
Yeah, we actually just wrapped up a 10.5-hour mediation 2 weeks ago to get a case settled. So that's the individual representation I'm speaking of with our business owners. So unfortunately, some of these business owners get divorced, put in too many hours, and we represent them on the divorce as well.
There you go. And so with your so you represent independent business owners. What would you say your niche business owner is? Like, who's your go-to type that comes to you for legal advice and work?
We're getting a lot of the young entrepreneurs in the tech industry, speaking with someone developing a editing platform for the entertainment industry, actually. So a lot of younger 25 to 30, 32-year-olds. I mean, we still have our kind of established business owners, the older ones as well, coming our way, but a lot of the younger ones.
And are you finding the younger ones are coming in with brand new like ideas and innovative products that they want to bring to market, or are they kind of opening something that's already been started and just a new reinvented idea?
Yeah, I think they're really filling a gap. Something's been done and it just hasn't been done up to the par that our generation or even later generations are looking for, the speed, the accuracy. So they're filling that gap and fixing it. Just fine-tuning these platforms that already exist, which they're catching fire.
Yeah, and I think especially with all the innovations coming out nowadays, there's always all this opportunity to recreate something that's already been done before in the past and make it even better. Right. And California is like obviously the hotspot for that happening in the world. So.
Yeah, now we have Silicon Beach here in Santa Monica as well. So, you know, Google's there now, and a lot of the big tech companies have moved down to Santa Monica. So there's a lot of start work there and then bring up on their own with their own projects. So it's becoming pretty big.
When I think I was last there, I think in Snap had just moved to down in that area as well, not Santa Monica, but where'd they move to?
I'm not sure where Snap is located. I think it's around that area, though. Silicon Beach is just kind of on the outskirts of Santa Monica, but it's
Venice. I think Snap's in Venice.
Snap's in Venice? That would make sense.
I think they're in Venice.
So it's kind of between like Mar Vista and the Santa Monica area, but it's great.
Right. So we've had a few of our audience members and viewers pre-send in some questions. I've loaded them onto the platform here. So let's run through some questions. Simple, easy. We won't want to try to stump you too hard, but basically, I think a lot of the viewers are coming from California and are cross-border citizens in Canada as well. So I think there's quite a few similarities in the questions here. But let's start off with a nice, easy one for you. Can a non-US citizen open a dispensary in California?
Yeah, you don't have to be a citizen to operate a California company. The problem comes in that California kind of did their licensing a little different. So it's a two-pronged step. You have to make sure you're in a locality that you're allowed to have a cannabis company. And most of those localities impose on you that your company has to be a domestic company. So being a US citizen isn't required, but registering a domestic LLC to operate that company would be. But one part is Canadian citizens might not want to do this. I don't do immigration, but it is a common issue with some of our clients. Getting back into Canada, or it's an issue. So, or getting back into America is going to be an issue because you're going to say I'm in the cannabis industry, and the U.S. government, since it's federally illegal, might not let you back in. So that's one thing to consider if you're doing it. If you want to travel back and forth a lot, if you're going to relocate, you're probably fine.
So if you're relocating to the US and you're planning on being there for a while, opening a dispensary probably wouldn't cause any issues. But if you're traveling in and out of the country frequently, going back to your business back and forth, then that's going to pose some issues.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah. I think I actually experienced some issues when traveling back and forth, even non-dispensary marijuana related, just on regular business. Even going back and forth as a Canadian to California a lot, I was getting questioned quite often about why you coming here, even with a visa. I would imagine nowadays they're even more strict about who's coming in, who's leaving, that sort of thing. So
yeah, I would imagine so, especially with where we're at.
And now another big aspect of what you're doing is we've talked a lot about what an opportunity zone is. So can you explain to our viewers what exactly an opportunity zone is? Because it's confusing and there's nothing like that here in Canada. And I think this is greatly beneficial for the viewers who have some extra money that want to invest in the US or are in the US and want to invest in these opportunity zones. So why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunity zones are basically economically distressed areas that have been identified by the 2010 US Census. So the areas are quite dated. For example, there's some parts in LA that are very expensive now to buy in, but they're classified as opportunity zones. And opportunity zone, the word opportunity comes from the huge tax deferment that you will get. This is basically you take your capital gains from maybe you sold a business, stocks, a house. Take those capital gains that you have and you can invest them into a qualified opportunity zone fund. And you can defer your capital gain tax on that until you realize the income that has been invested in the opportunity zone. And now there's tiered levels as well. So if you're in that qualified opportunity zone fund for 5 years, you're going to get a 10% reduction in your capital gains tax from your original investment. 7 years, now it's up to 15%. And 10 years is a complete elimination. So
right.
It's very, very advantageous for people to do this. Another aspect is that if you're in that opportunity zone, you say you take $10 million and put it into the opportunity zone fund and you cash out for $100 million, that $90 million is taxed, there's no capital gains tax on that.
Tax free? What?
Well, capital gains.
So what? There's capital gains. Yeah. So, okay, so that's interesting. So you take this money that you would eventually end up paying to the government and you invest it into these opportunity zones instead.
Right. So it has to be a qualified opportunity zone fund, which that means that 90% of the assets in that fund are in the opportunity zone. So you really have to find the fund, identify it, and make sure that you meet all the deadlines. So once those capital gains are realized, you only have 180 days to get it into the fund. So it's all the timing aspect. And if you're at 181 days, you're out. You have to pay your capital gains on that.
So how does someone who doesn't know anything about this, how do they go find this information or reach out to someone to invest their money?
Yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me. We actually are operating, I have a consulting company as well. We work with opportunity zone funds and we have projects identified across the country where this money can be allocated. You can also just if you have a financial advisor, you can talk to them. But also you can just do a Google search and the top ones will pop up. I mean, you have some pretty big companies out there doing it. Even JP Morgan has their opportunity zone fund set up. So JP
Morgan has a fund that basically provides I guess, investment, or it reestablishes a new area in a certain state?
Yeah, from my understanding, we spoke with JP Morgan a few times, a representative from them, about the Opportunity Zone Fund, and they have theirs going as well. A lot of investment houses do. So like I said, first stop, go to your financial advisor, because I'm sure they'll have someone pointing in that right direction, as long as they have connections on this side of the border.
Yeah, I mean, that's I can see the value there, and I can see why people would want to invest in something like this. I wish we had something like this in Canada. Maybe we do. I don't think we do, or else I would have been in it right away. But this seems like such a innovative way to deter people from wasting their money, and just kind of put it into an investment fund, while at the same time you're helping the community reestablish something in their community. Is there any projects that you're currently working on right now that you can speak about? Or
yeah, we have a project with a historically Black college in Atlanta. We have the rights for pre-development. We're going to, hopefully redo their football stadium and track and make it an entire athletic complex. So we've been in negotiations with them and signed a contract with them to do pre-development. So we're working with that right now. So we're doing a lot on that aspect.
So you're taking the money that is invested in this fund in this Atlanta stadium or this school.
Correct. And
is that fund only for the school?
That fund is for that project. Yes.
For that project.
Yep.
That's cool. And what's your, so if someone wanted to invest in that, they kind of would they go to City of Atlanta? I mean, does the city have their own?
No, I mean, if they want to invest in that project, get in touch with me. We have the exclusive rights for pre-development on that. And then once pre-development is completed, we'll move forward with the project. But the school has the final say in everything. They're the partners. They're controlling this, and we're trying to be the catalyst to get it going for them. So this has been about a year in the making. We sat down with them last July in 2019 to talk about everything. So we've been working pretty diligently with them.
And do you foresee that opportunity zones are going to be like a big thing coming up in the future, or do people know much about them? Is it a well-known thing?
The very well off know about it.
Right.
If you have minimal capital gains, it's not that advantageous for you. But the opportunity zones are coming under fire because people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing with them. Like you said, you're supposed to bring something and help the community. That's what our platform is. Our company's platform is to be a pillar and help the community rebuild. A lot of people are just seeing this as an opportunity to build luxury condos and charge high rents or multi-million-dollar houses. So they're coming under fire from a lot of people, and the argument is that it's accelerating gentrification. So I don't know if it's going to be around for a lot longer. We'll see. But right now, it's definitely an opportunity, and it's something that if you have the capital gains, you should definitely take advantage of.
Yeah, no, that sounds like what I would be doing for sure. Now, I mean, obviously, we're all in a pandemic right now. So this next question is kind of in relations to you and your work as a solo attorney. So what struggles have you faced as a solo attorney in California during COVID? Obviously, I'm assuming that you guys are in probably a worse position than we are in Vancouver in terms of COVID and the pandemic and restrictions. But can you explain a little bit of what you've done or what you've had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, we went into lockdown, I think on March 13th, and I will be very candid. The phone stopped ringing on March 13th. New clients were not calling, and this went on not just at my firm, other solos that I know as well, until about the end of March. It was very quiet. Crickets were chirping. The one good part about that is that in California, cannabis business were deemed essential businesses. So even though new clients weren't coming in, my clients still needed a lot of work done with the cannabis industry. So that was one good aspect. And the other good aspect is that I took that time to kind of redevelop and rebrand my firm. So I re-energized the branding aspect of it. But it was very tough there for a month and a half. As solos, and if there's other solos on here, they're just business owners. When the phone's not ringing or clients aren't coming in, you start to sweat quite a bit. Even when it's chilly here in LA, you start to sweat a bit.
When does it ever get chilly? So like, you said you rebranded. What caused you to rebrand? Why did you want to rebrand? And why did you figure that this was the time to do it?
Yeah, I finally had the time to dedicate to the content that I wanted to get out and to address the potential clients I wanted to get. Like I said, the young entrepreneurs, the people that, might not understand how important it is to have your LLC formed properly with all the agreements. It's disheartening to see young people that start a business with someone else and they get in dispute and there's no governing documentation to talk about how that equity will be sold down the line. And now they're spending tens of thousands of dollars in litigation when this could have just all been solved with a simple document at the beginning. So I wanted to rebrand and really reach out to them, give them resources. So if you look at my website, it's very interactive. There's a lot of content there for people to go through, free content. I have resources to Y Combinator, the National Venture Capitalist Association, things you can look at with sample documents that people can use for their business. So even though I'm giving this content and these resources away for free, this is establishing great relationships with the people that I want. So that was really the motive behind my rebranding.
Yeah. And I see you're pumping out tons of content, like lots of content, which is great.
Trying to
what?
Support it.
It's rare to see a lawyer or attorney put out so much video. So it's good that you're taking the initiative to do that, because video, as you know, helps any business, in terms of marketing, SEO, all that stuff. It helps so much. So it's good to see you actually doing it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I got a lot of feedback from clients before that asked the difference between LLC in Delaware and California. I'm like, but I literally wrote a blog about this, and they said, yes, but I'm not reading it. I need like a 1-second rundown of this. So that's the inspiration behind the videos. And also, we're a service industry. My clients want to get to know me, so they need to see me outside of working. So you get to see my dog on some of my content. She doesn't do much. She's my assistant, but she just lays around. But stuff like that, just to set myself apart. The law industry is so far behind in marketing and technology and everything else. People need to laugh when they're talking to their lawyer once in a while. So why not me?
I agree. And you know what? It's good that you're putting some humor into it too, because the law can be quite dry, boring, but not even just that. It can be stressful and give people a lot of anxiety talking to a lawyer. Even just mentioning the name word lawyer, people don't like it. You're usually not the first person someone you want to talk to.
The last person they want to talk to usually. So.
There you go. Right. So I think that brings us into our next question. I'm a solo business lawyer in Vancouver. What strategies did you use during the pandemic to create business for yourself? So we talked a little bit about, you did some video, put out more content. What else did you do? Was there anything else that kind of clicked and made it happen?
Yeah, I'm also a member of a nationwide networking group called Provisors. They were pretty quick to switch everything over to Zoom, which made life a lot easier. One, I don't have to get up as early to get to meetings, but also now I can attend meetings in New York and Boston and Miami and Chicago. That also enabled me to make those connections there, not just in that initial meeting, but then to jump on and spot out individuals I knew I wanted to connect with and talk with them on an individual basis. I also ramped up LinkedIn connections. I just started sending out invites to people and then starting conversations with them. Not the cold sales email, nothing like that.
Not the long blurb with the wrong name in it.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing like that. Just, hey, I think we have some synergies here. I think it would be great to connect. So those, but mostly the content. It's very time consuming to come up with the topic, do the video or write the blog. So a lot of times in my videos, you'll see other people's videos. They don't stop talking or they don't stutter. I'll stutter because that's real life. And I'm at the point where I don't probably want to tape anymore. So the content and then just making the new connections virtually. Unfortunately, it's the only way we can do it now. But those aspects have really been creating a lot of business here in the last month or so.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously California right now are you guys still in a lockdown? Like, what's happening there?
Yeah, so city by city. I'm currently in San Diego. Things are a lot more open here, but I live and work in Los Angeles. We're a lot more restricted. We're more densely packed than San Diego. But restaurants, I think we're just opening in room dining. I'm not sure. Gyms are still closed. So we're pretty much still closed down. It's tough. So it makes networking more difficult, meeting with clients more difficult. But yeah, California is still, especially LA, we're still really being hit pretty hard with COVID.
And how do you think the economy is going to come back in LA after this? Do you think, and how are people doing right now? What's the overall sense of emotion going on?
Well, let's remember, LA is the entertainment capital. So the music industry and movies and TV are being hit very, very hard. I think they're just starting taping again in LA. Live venues for music, no go. I mean, my connections there are saying it might not be until mid to late 2021. So things like that are tough. And those are people that thought they had very, very well secured jobs. Unfortunately, those very well skilled people are out of work right now. So it's tough all around. I've had no less than 4 friends have to close their firms because of lack of work. PI got hit pretty hard there, personal injury, because people were not out driving and cases dropped off. So I wouldn't even have thought of that, but just having friends in the industry, it's been tough. I mean, it's hit everyone, but our entertainment contracts have just dropped off.
So what has probably picked up, I'm assuming, family law, divorce, matrimonial law, picked up at all?
Family law, divorce. Unfortunately, we're seeing a ton of restraining orders, both domestic violence restraining orders and civil harassment restraining orders, because neighbors are home all day now. So stomping around might get annoying after day 4 or 5 or, day 105. So we were in court, I think 6 times last month on restraining orders in general. So those are picking up, and then dissolution of businesses, unfortunately. I mean, I just saw last week that 420,000 U.S. businesses are being. So, we're offering free 45-minute consultation with those businesses just to kind of guide them along the path. But, unfortunately, we're doing a lot of that or equity sales.
Right. It's unfortunate that California is kind of in this predicament. And I think here in Vancouver, we were locked down for about, I think it was a month or 3 weeks, I think it was total. But to be in that same predicament 6 months later now, I couldn't imagine what that's like. When was the last time you went to the gym?
You know what? I will say on Wednesday, now the gyms, there's gyms that are moving outdoors. So they're putting them in parking lots. I just have to, instead of walking across the street to the gym, I now have to drive into the valley a little bit to get there. But you know what? It's fine. The better question is, when's the last time I went out to actual dinner?
That's the next one.
Yeah, that's been, I can't even tell you. Order in, yes. Drinks, yeah. You now have to order food when you go out, but it's just not the same. So
no, it's not.
Waiting for in-room dining to open back up.
We have a couple more questions I want to get through. We only have a few minutes left here. So let's get through some of these. Name one company that inspires you.
One company or one individual?
Or an individual, sure.
Yeah. So I will say
organization, nonprofit, whatever.
Yeah. Well, one that inspires me for the content is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's all over the place. Content. That's
Gary V.
But that good old Gary V. He'll swear just as much as I do usually and get the point across. So I think he's one that's inspiring that aspect. And then other companies, to be honest, one of my clients, they're out there every single day doing something, whether they really want to or not, and just their mentality. They have 3 kids, husband and wife work together, and it's just those two, hearing their attitude and their positivity every single day. Their companies, Your Highness, they are just inspirational beyond belief. And I like to keep it at the mom and pop shops just to give shout out to them, because it's tough to get your name out these days. To really
there's a lot of noise going on on the internet nowadays, because everyone's moving to the internet, everyone's moving to social media, everyone's moving to video. So just getting heard now in the last 6 months is a lot more difficult than it was a year ago.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Way more content being pushed out on the internet. I mean, I'm surprised the internet's surviving. We'll go through a couple more here. This is an interesting one. So what is the process to get divorced in California if I just moved to Canada? My ex still resides in LA.
So your ex can file a petition for dissolution here in LA. As long as they meet the residency requirements, they can file. And then it's a matter of, unfortunately, you coming back and forth from Canada. If there's children involved, it's going to be pretty difficult. But it depends on your length of marriage and everything else. But he can file here, and then you're just under California's jurisdiction.
There you go. And should my lawyer be reviewing all my contracts before I sign them? And I think I know what you're going to say here.
I'm going to say yes. And I'm sure that's a shocker coming from a business lawyer. Yes, please have your lawyer review it. Limit the hours you want him to review it, or maybe just a certain pages, or her, but have them review it. One example of why this is needed, we had a client come to us, the standard contract, they said, and it was buried on page like 12 that the manufacturer could cease all production of the product on a 1 day's notice. So we saved our clients millions of dollars on that aspect, revised it, and they used that manufacturing contract to segue into a multi-million-dollar sale. So please have your lawyers review it. It's very beneficial.
The fine details. I always, even those little contracts you get from the cell phone store, I'm just looking through them. You never know what's in there, right?
Those ones are annoying. I don't want to review those, but I will if you guys want me to. So
yeah. Here's another question related to that. So my business lawyer wants to meet with me on a weekly basis. Is this necessary? I run a small tech company with annual revenue of less than $1 million. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming it's case by case. So let's hear what you have to say. Yeah.
So I was going to say the typical law response is going to be it depends. It depends what kind of tech company you're running. Is it a gambling company? Is it a highly regulated company? Then you might need to meet on a weekly basis. We have clients that we do meet with on a daily basis. And it also depends on what stage you're in. Are you ramping up to maybe expand into new jurisdictions, new products, services? Are you ramping up for a potential sale? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered before I can give that. But I have weekly contact with my clients, whether I bill for it or not. Weekly contact with them just to make sure I know what's going on, if there's any new deals proposed or anything like that. So
yeah,
your lawyer just wants
to probably save your butt in the long run too.
Right. Exactly. Potentially. So your lawyer just wants to be informed. He's part of the team. So I would stick with it. But once again, you're asking a lawyer. So
yeah, maybe you can work out a flat fee arrangement with your lawyer.
There you go.
Some sort. And we have one more question here. What tools or apps do you use to stay organized? I mean, this could be personally or in your business day to day.
Yeah, so I don't use too many tools or apps. The more I have, the more I'm going to be kind of all over the place. I religiously write down exactly what I have to do the night prior, and I usually break it down to about 15 to 30-minute increments of what needs to be done so my task can be laid out. And I'll import that into my calendar and just get alerts on there. But yeah, the less amount of apps, the better for me.
Yeah, less clutter.
Yeah.
Less things to worry about, less things to organize.
Less notifications going off. That's more distraction.
That's one thing, is the notifications that we receive nowadays. I mean, we want to get notified. We want to stay on top of everything, but the amount of notifications we receive in a day is just ridiculous. Yeah. And to cut that down just a little bit helps. I know it does. So that's good that you're doing that. So Eric, I appreciate you coming on the show. I want to ask a couple more just quick questions. What is your favorite food?
Favorite food? Oh, I can never get tired of Mexican food. Burritos, tacos.
Remember that.
In fact, I'm in San Diego. I'll be here for about 4 days. I'll probably have 4 to 5 burritos in that amount of time. I absolutely love Mexican food.
And after this pandemic, after California is back to normal, where do you want to travel to? Where's the first place you want to go?
I went to Spain 2 years ago, to Barcelona and Madrid, and I really want to go to southern Spain and Italy if it's safe enough by then.
Italy, amazing. Okay, noted. And as I told the audience today, we're actually giving away a $50 Amazon gift card to a lucky viewer and audience member. So we'll be announcing that later today. But if you attended today's viewing, leave a comment in the comment section below, and your name will be entered into a $50 Amazon draw. We'll be announcing the winner today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be DMing you. So please leave your contact information available there as well. Eric, it's been a pleasure. Love seeing your face. It's been a hot minute, so we should let's make sure we continue to do this on a regular basis. But thank you for coming on the show, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.